After Nnedima read through the text in the piece of paper that was thrown to her by Zina, she felt a chill run down her spine. She was very uneasy and scared. The text said, "Take the English teacher's phone that is on the desk and put it in your bag. And when you are caught, say, 'I am a thief.'" Nnedima read what was written on the paper numerous times, hoping she must have misread it. She couldn't fathom why Zina would want her to do such a thing. She knew that if she did it, the English teacher will see her as a thief. She didn't want to do it, so she sat fixed to her seat, hoping Zina will forget about it. However, Zina wasn't having it. In her mind, she wondered why Nnedima was yet to execute her plan, especially when the English teacher was backing the class, including the desk her phone was on. Her plan was that if this pulled off well, the English teacher would hate Nnedima and then tell her colleague about everything Nnedima had done. That was why she scribbled such a thing into a sheet of paper and threw it to Nnedima. So, she scribbled another thing into a sheet of paper, throwing it to Nnedima, who hesitated to touch it. She feared for her life, but after a while, she reached out to the paper and held it with trembling hands. Opening it, it read, "If you don't do it, get ready for another round of beating, not only from me, but from the boys." If there was one thing Nnedima was scared of, it was being beaten by a male bully. She had seen how they had treated their victims, and most of them were scholarship boys. They had bullied them to the point that they dropped out of the school. Nnedima didn't want to get any beating or bruises for that matter. She was hoping that the recent ones she had gotten from Zina and her friends would heal up before midterm break, because she didn't want to tell her parents another lie when they asked her what had happened to her. Taking a deep breath, she walked slowly to the desk, saying in her heart, "After this SS3, all of this will be over. So just endure for a little while, okay? We have a great future ahead of us. We must fulfill our dream and become a successful journalist," she told herself again and again. After a while, she succeeded in taking the phone from the teacher's desk and rushed to her seat, shoving the phone into her bag in fear. Soon, the English teacher began looking for her phone. She searched around the desk until one of the students, Aisha, who noticed what Nnedima had done, asked, "Ma, are you looking for your phone?" "Yes. Where is it?" she asked, wondering where it might be. "I saw Nnedima taking it oh. She even put it inside her bag," Aisha confessed. The English teacher, who couldn't believe her ears, thought that maybe there was a new student named Nnedima that probably did it. But after scanning through the class, she only saw old faces. It left her to conclude that it was the Nnedima she knew that stole her phone. So she walked up to her. "Nnedima, is it true?" she asked, hoping the information she got was false. "It is true, ma. I stole your phone. I am a thief," Nnedima said. She had did as she was told and then handed the phone back to her. The class students laughed at Nnedima, calling her a thief. The English teacher had to caution them to keep quiet. Then she told Nnedima never to try such a thing again and then ended the class. Nnedima was shocked that she didn't receive any punishment from the teacher. Perhaps she was really loved by her, so she was happy. But Zina wasn't happy at all. Things didn't go as she had planned it to. She got flared up and called her two friends, Amara and Abike, and told them to take Nnedinma to the rooftop. They were able to accomplish that, and Nnedinma saw herself lying on the rooftop with Amara and Abike standing close to her. She wondered what was going to happen next and braced herself for it. Soon, the door of the rooftop swung open and she saw Zina and a group of boys, which happened to be the bullies she feared, march in and lock the door. She was scared, pushing herself backward. "Beat her up until she bleeds," Zina lauded. "But she's a girl. Are you sure about this?" one of the boy bullies asked. "Yes, I am very, very sure." Nnedinma couldn't believe what she had heard. She knew that she had done exactly what Zina had told her to, so that she could avoid getting bullied by the boys. But now, here she was, bracing herself for the impact of their fists. She was beaten mercilessly until she spat out blood. It was after they saw the blood that they stopped hitting her and left the rooftop, leaving her alone. Nnedinma cried as she went to the school nurse clinic to get treated. She was asked by the school nurse how she had sustained such injuries, but she lied that it was because she had fallen from the stairs. The school nurse suggested that she would inform the principal to tell her parents to come pick her up so she could be taken to a proper hospital, but Nnedinma declined the offer. She didn't want to miss any classes and risk being the best graduating student in her set. She wanted to endure it all. After all, it was her last year in Spring Excel Secondary School before she would be free from Zina's torture. As days passed by, Zina kept instructing Nnedinma to steal from teachers, but it did little to nothing in making them hate her. Instead, the teachers warned and cautioned Nnedinma never to try such a thing again. She was also advised to stop stealing. Zina wanted to do something that would remove Nnedinma out of the school for good, and soon she came up with a plan, a dangerous one. That day, Nnedinma was busy, buried in her books during break, when Zina, Amara, and Abike stepped up to her desk. They watched her read and laughed, grabbing her attention. "This school is not for your kind. Leave this school, in fact," Zina said, laughing some more, and then continued. "Oya, stand up. You have another task to do." Nnedinma fidgeted. She didn't want to steal from any more teachers anymore, but she obeyed, hoping that her next heist will not land her into any problem. Zina drew close to Nnedinma and grabbed her ear, saying, "Now listen carefully. This is what you will do. Go to the principal's office. Open his drawer. You will find about 50,000 naira in it. Collect that money and put it in your bag. Make sure the CCTV in his office captures you. Now go," she ordered. Nnedinma couldn't believe her ears. The principal's office, the school's money. She wondered how on earth did Zina think of such an atrocity. She knew that if she did such a thing, she would be expelled with immediate effect, and she didn't want that. She was in SS3. She knew that she was almost done with school. So she said, "Never! I will never do such a thing. Mark my words." She then resumed to reading her book. Zina chuckled mischievously and then said, "Don't worry. We will just call the group of boys to beat." She was cut short by Nnedinma. "If you like, bring 1,000 men, 10,000 in fact, to beat me up, but see, I will not do it." Zina laughed again and then continued, "You are really faster than your shadow. It isn't you the group of boys will beat, oh. It is your sister, Agatha. If you don't do it, then get ready to watch Agatha gets beaten every day by the group of boy bullies. After all, she has enjoyed her stay enough in this school. Suddenly, fear gripped Nnedima's heart. She didn't mind if she was beaten, but definitely not her sister, Agatha. Agatha had recently resumed school and she was in JS1. How would she cope? Nnedima was indeed scared and she didn't want to steal money from the principal's office. But she also didn't want anything to happen to her sister. So she spoke with a shaky voice. "All right, I will do it. But please, never lay your hand on Agatha." "Don't worry, we won't." Zina laughed as Amara and Abike followed. Zina and her friends were about leaving until Nnedima asked, "Do I have to do it today?" "Yes, but it mustn't be now, as long as it's today." "I'm not that wicked, you know," Zina said, then left her presence together with Amara and Abike. Nnedima knew that what she was told to do will bring her severe punishment, but she was ready to do anything as long as Agatha was safe. She prayed and hoped in her heart that the principal would not give her expulsion, but rather a severe punishment. Before she left the principal's office, she tore out a piece of paper, desiring to write a letter to Agatha, her sister. Agatha was still mad at her for not supporting her when she wanted to take the scholarship exam at the school. So Nnedima had been finding it difficult to communicate with her. She knew sending a letter to her was the best option. Getting out her pen, she began scribbling on the paper, and it read, "Dear Agatha, I know that you are still angry with me. I am sorry for not supporting you, but I had my reasons. I wanted to protect you. The truth is that scholarship students are usually being bullied in this school. The other students envy us, so I was scared. I couldn't stand the sight of watching you being bullied. I am also a victim of this. I wanted to let you know to stop you, but I don't know why I didn't. I knew it would bring fear to you and might even stop you from achieving your dream of becoming a student of Spring Excel Academy. In fact, the only reason I'm still trying to survive here is because I know how hard I worked to get into the school. Also, I am already in SS3, so I know I can finish to the end. My dream is to become a journalist, and I want to pass through the best schools when given the opportunity. I love you, and I hope we get to talk more often, just like before. From your only sister, Nedima." When she was done, she gave the letter to one of Agatha's setmates and instructed her to give it to Agatha in the evening. The break was about to be over, and Nnedima knew that after the break, the principal will be at his office. He usually went to have his lunch in the school refectory during break periods. So she went to his office with her school bag and stole the money, putting it inside her school bag and leaving. When the break was over, Nnedima went back to the class, fidgeting, because she knew that the consequences of her actions might be severe. During civic education class, a teacher from the disciplinary committee in the school came in and asked to see Nnedima in the disciplinary office. As she stood to leave with the teacher, the students, including Zina and her minions, were murmuring amongst themselves. When Nnedima stepped into the disciplinary office, she saw the principal and all the members of the disciplinary committee. They were all seated, staring at Nnedima in disdain. The principal pulled out his glasses and played a video that was recorded in the CCTV of his office. "Miss Nnedima, is this you?" he asked. Nnedima's heart was pumping tremendously. She swallowed while watching herself take money from her principal's drawer to her school bag. "Yes, sir," she spoke, avoiding eye contact. Are you trying to tell me that as we speak right now, the school money is in your school bag? He asked, surprised. Yes, sir, Nedima replied with a trembling voice. The entire disciplinary committee that were present released judgmental signs and huffs. The principal called the school security man and asked him to go to Nedima's class and get her school bag. Soon, the security man returned with the school bag and gave it to the principal, who opened it and found the school money in it. As he received the money from the bag, there was a gasp of shock heard from every member of the disciplinary committee. They had seen the CCTV of Nedima stealing the money, but they were still finding it difficult to believe because she was one of their brightest students. The principal then looked at Nedima and said, "Do you have any explanation as to why you did this?" Nedima didn't know how to explain why she stole the money. She feared that if she revealed the truth, her sister would be bullied, so she said nothing. The principal cleared his throat and told her to stand outside the office for 10 minutes so he and the members of the disciplinary committee can discuss her punishment, and she obeyed. When they were done, they called her back in and the principal started. Nedima, you have been one of our brightest and smartest students, but I am afraid that it wouldn't stop us from following the rules because we wouldn't want to raise thieves in this prestigious school. I and the members of the disciplinary committee have decided to expel you from this school. However, because of our respect for your academic success so far, we would make this quiet, meaning that it wouldn't be announced that you are expelled. There will be no public embarrassment for you. I really had high hopes for you, but it is fine. We would call your parents to come pick you up quietly tomorrow. I wish you the best, he said as he stood up and took his leave, not giving Nedima any room to speak. Nedima was shocked. How could she be expelled in SS3? She was almost done with school, and now she's expelled. She didn't know what to do. She was sad and angry at the same time. She thought of Zina, the cause of her problem, and a burning anger arose within her. She was ready to give her a piece of her mind, so she left the office and went to her classroom to look for Zina. It was a free period, so there was no teacher in the class. She didn't see Zina, but she overheard someone saying that Zina, Amara, and Abike were at the rooftop, so she began going there. With her hands clenched into a fist, she walked up the stairs leading to the rooftop. When she got there, she saw Zina, Amara, and Abike beating another scholarship student, whose name was Ayu. This made Nedima so angry that she ran to Zina and pushed her to the ground. This caused Amara and Abike to let go of the scholarship student, staring at Nedima in shock. When did Nedima get the audacity to throw Zina to the ground? They thought. But Nedima was not done with her. She pounced on Zina and began slapping her with tears rolling down her eyes. I hate you! I hate you so much! You have made me to be expelled. I hate you! She continued this until Amara and Abike threw Nedima off Zina to the ground. Zina stood up, dusting herself clean while recovering from the slaps she had received. How dare a peasant like you touch me? Do you know who I am? By the way, it is good news you were expelled. Finally, I can breathe in this school. She paused, turning to Amara and Abike. She hit me just now. Call me the big boys. Nedima needs a special present before she leaves the school, she said, smiling wickedly. Abike and Amara stormed out of the rooftop to call the boys, who would beat Nnedinma again. Nnedinma, on the other hand, stood up and said, "Nobody will touch me." She then rushed towards Zina and grabbed her hair, dragging it while saying, "I want you to feel pain. You will experience what it means to steal. In fact, you will steal uncontrollably. It will be your addiction, I promise you." She said this while dragging Zina's hair as the scholarship student who she had rescued watched her. Zina was a weak student. She could hardly fight, so all she did was scream because of the pain that came with her hair being pulled. Tired of the pain, Zina pushed Nnedinma with all her strength, but a disaster occurred. When she had pushed her, Nnedinma found herself at the edge of the rooftop, and accidentally she slipped, making her to fall off as a loud thud was heard. The scholarship student, Ayo, who witnessed this, screamed at the sight of it, and Zina couldn't believe what she had done. She walked to the corner of the rooftop and looked down. There, she saw Nnedinma enveloped in a pool of blood. Nnedinma had died. When Agatha heard the news of her sister's death, she was devastated. She received the letter Nnedinma had left for her and wailed as she read it. Ayo, who was there at the crime scene, was falsely accused for being the one responsible for Nnedinma's death, all thanks to Zina. Mr. Okonkwo, who is Zina's father, had bribed the police authorities to prevent Zina from being the killer. Ayo pleaded innocent, but all to no avail. She was later sentenced to life. Agatha ran some investigation by asking Nnedinma's classmates who was known to be bullying Nnedinma. She got answers, and most of them mentioned Zina, but none mentioned Ayo. This caused her to visit the scholarship student, Ayo, in the prison, who narrated everything that had happened, including what Nnedinma had said to Zina before she passed. It was then that Agatha concluded that Zina was the culprit. Agatha tried to do all she could to save Ayo, knowing that she was innocent, but nothing worked. She was determined also to expose Zina. She hated the fact that she didn't listen to Nnedinma when she was warned not to write the scholarship exam of Spring Excel Secondary School. She hated herself for that, so she decided to become a journalist, which was Nnedinma's dream. Now, she was glad that Zina had finally been exposed. As she watched Zina narrate her story at the stage, with cameras flashing at her, she smiled. Zina was later arrested for bullying, physical violence, and murder. She was later sentenced to death. Her father, Mr. Okonkwo, was arrested and robbed of his finances. He was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment for trying to cover up Zina's murder case. Ayo was released and compensated with a huge amount of money. She became a psychologist and an anti-bullying advocate. She always remembered the day Nnedinma had saved her, and she cherished that memory. As for Amara, Abike, and the other bullies, nobody knew about their whereabouts. This is the end of this story. Please do like this video and subscribe to this channel. You can also comment what you feel about this story. Please also support us by sharing this as well. See you in my next story.